So today we have just a little Andy update. Andy is boarding with me, but my boarding includes light training. And for my previous client dogs, that light training is typically just kind of touching up everything they learned with me. So we're working on some off-leash heel, sit, and down practice. I remember her owners telling me she had a little bit of trouble with heel at home, so we went and we worked on heel pretty hard. Now our big issue with heel is she's a little bit of a slow poke, but I'll take that over trying to forge ahead. And we kept this session pretty quick. This was actually from yesterday morning, but it was already 80 degrees. I live in Texas, if you are not aware. And our spring pretty much happens back in February. So right now it's just super humid, super hot. So we kept this session pretty short because you can see we're like maybe like a minute or so into the video, probably like 3 minutes into the real life actual training session. And she's panting pretty hard. You can see the end of her tongue's a little bit curled there. So I did want to kind of end it fairly quickly, but there's also a balance of ending it quickly so the dog, is comfortable and stuff. And then there's also the balance of making sure you cover everything you need to cover. Like she had a bunch of issues. You can see she's shifty. She had a lot of issues in the stay with me walking behind her. So that's something that I definitely had wanted to touch up and look at for her. Andy's a little bit of a worry wart, I would consider. I don't think she's the most anxious dog in the world, but I think she's definitely a little bit more on the worrying about her life kind of side of things. So I want to try to make her as stable as I can while I have her for boarding and just help her navigate life a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier for the dogs when there's different things that they don't quite understand if they have a job to do. So like, for example, that big truck and trailer drove past. If that's something she's scared of, it doesn't matter because her job right now is just to sit. She knows that she's safe when we put her in obedience, that she's going to get paid in the end, and that all the rules are very black and white, and that makes life a little bit easier for her. And she's been having an absolute blast here with me. Typically we'll do some training sessions in the morning and then in the afternoon, because I usually go to the gym about midday, we'll go swimming. So she's been having a ton of fun swimming. She's really picked it up pretty quick. But the funny thing is that if I go underwater, she freaks out. She's like, I'm here to save you. I will save you from drowning. And I'm like, Andy, you can relax, girl. I can go underwater and not, stay there. She also really enjoys blowing bubbles in the pool. So she likes to stick her nose in the water and snort out a bunch of bubbles, which is super cute. And yeah, we've just been really playing a lot of frisbee and swimming, especially in the afternoons here when it's getting really hot. I don't want to work her too much. I don't want her to overheat or anything, but the pool is a great way that I can still get her out and get her active without worrying about her, overheating. I just keep an eye on her getting too tired, and making sure that she's not getting too tired in the pool, which this pool again is pretty safe because it's such a small area and it's so easy to get in and out that if she did get too tired, it would be pretty easy to get her out of there. But obviously we don't want that to happen. And you can really see her lagging behind here. I'm working her fully off of her e-collar. She's using the Fob Educator by e-collar Tech. So it's a pretty powered down e-collar compared to the Mini Educator or other models from other brands. But I'm using a lower level to kind of tap. So I'm not holding the button, I'm tapping when she's too far behind just to encourage her to move forward a little bit. But I do keep in mind, especially in this session where you can see she is kind of getting hot, that if she's lagging a little bit in temperatures and humidity like this, I'm not going to overly get after her for it. I understand that she's a little bit uncomfortable right now, so I try to give her a little bit of leniency.
Who's that Pokemon? It's Pikachu!
And she really does remind me of a little Pokemon, and I couldn't figure out which Pokemon it was for a while. If you're not an early 2000s, late 90s kid, you might not understand this. But she is absolutely reminds me of the Slowpoke Pokemon, which is one of my favorites because it's like one of the few cards that like doesn't really do anything, but it's like freaking adorable, and I collected them for the pictures, not the actual game. And I think that's why I like Andy, is because she's like one of my favorite Pokemon, but in real life, and a dog. And she's a sweetie too, that definitely helps. But this session went pretty well. We definitely have a couple things to iron out and work on today and the next couple days before she goes home. But she's retained her training really well, and I think she's gonna do really good.